behind.
Behind?
Yes, we are. I am behind.
Yeah. Not we got to take after the teacher.
I am behind, so I am going to try to get you guys caught up today.
Okay.
Because I want our lectures to be in line with what we're doing on discussion board. And we're not there right now.
Oh.
So I may go a little faster today than I usually go, and that's because I'm trying to get us caught up to where we should be. So today, we're going to talk about management, leadership. And the first thing we're going to do is watch a video, short video. So how do you guys define a leader?
It's not really a definition.
No definition. Okay.
Oh, one who takes initiative.
One who takes initiative, all right. You have to have a title.
No.
No.
That's what the whole video was about, right?
Yep.
Showing you that there's a lot of leaders out here that don't have a title, but that doesn't mean that they're not a leader. So I wanted to show this video because it kind of goes into what we're going to be talking about today. So there's obviously differences between leadership and management, and I took this figure from your book, and you'll see that there's a circle inside of a square, and you'll see that management tends to deal more with things internally within an organization. So you'll have operations, professionals, that's more of the management focus. And then the things outside of the circle deal with more external things like vendors, media, strategic partners. Those are more on the leadership scale. Those are kind of more of things that the leader is going to focus on more so than things inside the circle. So, we're going to do a little activity in class right now. I need volunteers to come up, and you see characteristics here. And if you think it's a leadership characteristic, I need you to put a L. And if you think it's a management duty or characteristic or skill or responsibility, I need you to put an M. So who wants to be first?
Just put one?
Yeah, everybody gets to do one.
Anywhere?
Yeah, choose which one you want.
Okay.
Just make it right. No pressure. All right, thank you very much for your participation. Anybody else? Well, there's enough for everybody, so we'll get there. Thank you for your effort. Who's next? Thank you, Vic. Next. Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am. Cursive, thank you. Fancy. All right, we got some left over. Who's going again?
Since I'm up here.
All right.
Can it be both?
I don't know. Can it be both?
Yeah.
Could
I think so.
We'll talk about that. Which one do you think it is the most?
Okay.
All right, thank you. Took yours. One more. I'll do this one. How about that?
Both.
Leader.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for participating. Now I have to ask you, are all these correct?
No.
No. Is anybody else say no? Or do we only have one no?
I say no.
I say no.
We have 3 no's. Any other ones? 4 no's?
I think there's some boths in there, so yeah, no.
So everybody says no. All
I
right.
give it either or.
Well, which one, who wants to take a stab at telling me which one is incorrect? Or ones, if there's more than one.
Transform organization.
Which one?
Transform.
Should be leader.
Mm-hmm.
Who all agrees with that?
I didn't
Is this a unanimous change? Do we all want to change that?
Break it down, I mean.
Actually, that could be both,
Both,
though.
yeah, because a manager,
We'll get to both, but for
Okay.
Who
now,
makes the
more
final
so.
decision?
yeah.
Who makes
the manager.
Manager or
The
leader?
the leader is under
because
the
the manager is
manager.
the ones that's in the
Right.
nitty-gritty of it. The leader is the one that sets it for them.
Exactly.
So we got a little debate here going on. All
Yeah.
right, we're gonna have to take a vote then.
Yes, regulates compliance would be manager because the other one would maybe
Follow suit, whatever,
Okay.
set, yeah, through the management team.
would create the.
All right, so let's stay here though first.
Okay,
Do we want this to stay as manager or change it to leader?
I think it's manager.
Who else is manager?
I'm the only one.
All right, so we're changing this to leader. All right. Are there any other ones that we want to change or we think that are incorrect?
What? I
Set
would say
direction.
regulate,
Yeah.
to regulate the compliance
You think that's
would be
manager?
manager. I think.
Yeah, manager.
I put
I
it
mean,
up there and
that's a
I said, no, I
bold thing
think it
too,
would be.
though.
Final decision.
What does that mean, regulate compliance?
Means follow
Keep it in
direction.
one direction.
Follow.
Keep it
Okay.
there, yeah.
Who has their book? This is all from the book.
Yeah, it's from the book.
I think, setting directions and missions come from the management. No?
Setting direction is a leadership thing.
Is it?
I think it's.
Yeah.
I got it from the book.
Oh, okay.
All right, are there any other ones we should change? Check out your book.
Manager can, in council.
They're all correct now.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Are they all
according to
correct?
management, it says
According to the
director.
book, are they all correct?
Book, they are staff, manager.
I'm looking at number, page 5.
There should be a table.
18.
Yeah,
Page
so on
18.
channel 19 at, I mean,
19.
page 19 at the bottom.
Are they all correct?
Oh, I'm looking, okay.
Yeah.
Supervisor,
Yeah, they're correct.
oversee.
Does everybody agree that they're correct?
Yeah.
Where's the overseeing records? Oh, okay,
Yeah.
All right, so we did pretty good.
yeah. Mhm.
We only missed one. Oh, 2. Missed 2. Everybody satisfied?
Mhm.
Feel like they learned something, you know, leader, manager? All right, I'm gonna erase this, so if you, everybody good?
Mhm.
All right. So we did that activity just to give you an idea to see what the differences are between the two. Now somebody asks, can they be both? Sure, it can be both. Some of these will be both. But I was trying to get you to see which of these more so relies on the leader or the manager. Some of these will be more than both. Some of them will only be one. But I wanted you to at least see which one applied to each position the most. So we'll start talking about leadership first, or leaders first. Here are some of the competencies that they have. Leaders have to obviously be forward-thinking and looking into the future, very futuristic. We just talked about how they set the direction and the mission for the organization. They have to be able to motivate the employees and the stakeholders, and also make sure that the organization is staying on track. There's something that they're supposed to be accomplishing or service that they're supposed to be providing to the community. It's up to the leader to make sure that they are doing those things that they're supposed to be doing. Oftentimes, the leader is obviously going to be the spokesperson for the organization, whether it's something good or something bad. If it's something good and they're in the news or the reporter wants to stop by, who are they going to look for? Leader, right? President, CEO, not the manager. So they have to be an effective spokesperson. Here are some of the skills that they have to have. A leader has to be, even if they're not providing that specific service or that doing that task, they still have to know how to do it. They have to know how everything functions, and they have to have the technical skills to be able to know how everything functions and not just lead. They have to know the ins and outs of the organization. And a lot of times I've seen leaders walk around the hospital or organization, speak with employees, and that's how they get that kind of knowledge as to what's going on and how everything works together and what each department and each staff does every day. They have to have good interpersonal skills. Again, a good way to develop those is by talking to your staff and your employees so they can see your face and not just know you're somebody sitting in the office with the door closed, behind the door. Actually get out and speak with people, have lunch. I worked at one organization where every single day the president of the hospital came down to the cafeteria and ate lunch there. He wanted to be visible. He wanted people to see him. He wanted to be able to be available if people wanted to come up to him and say hi or express an issue that they're having in the department or talk to them about whatever. And I thought that was a great idea. I thought it showed lots of humility. You know, this person is making probably close to $1 million a year, could have lunch wherever they wanted to. They came down to the cafeteria every day to have lunch with everybody else to kind of show them that, you know, they're not higher up or any better than everybody else. And also, again, to kind of make themselves available for people who want to just talk to the president or, you know, tell them they're doing a good job or express to them why they need more supplies or whatever it is they may want to talk to him. He was there. He was approachable. He was available. I thought that was a good idea. So there's different types of leadership styles. You have coercive, participative, pace setting, and coaching. Do you think any of these are more effective or more important than any of the other ones? No? Kind of depends.
Depends on the situation.
Yeah, definitely. There's going to be some times when you do have to be coercive. You have, you know, if you have that certain staff person or employee, you may not be able to be participative in that situation. There may be other situations where you can be participative. So it kind of does depend on the situation. There are obviously some leadership protocols. There's some things that leaders cannot do. Again, they're representing the organization, they're representing the community. So these are some of the appropriate ways that a leader should act. Obviously, number one, professionalism. They should always seem professional at all times. They should appear or be trustworthy, and people should be able to respect them. We talked about being visible, being an open communicator, being able to freely communicate with staff in a way that's respectful and not looking down on anyone. Being a risk taker. You have to take risks sometimes. You have to. You can't go through life being risk averse every day. Sometimes they say, you know, the biggest rewards come from taking risks. Admitting fault. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody doesn't admit that they make mistakes. So a good leader should be able to admit fault. And some of that comes into having emotional intelligence. Does anybody know anything about emotional intelligence? If you don't, you will. It deals with having a sense of awareness with your staff, having a sense of sympathy and compassion. So an example of emotional intelligence might be, you know, Ms. Jones, right?
Mhm.
Okay, there we go. You send me an email or you come into my office and you tell me that you had a
issue with case study.
no. You had an unfortunate event happen to someone in your family.
Mm-hmm.
Having emotional intelligence would be me, you know, having sympathy for you and saying, oh, I'm sorry for, you know, XYZ, whatever happened. Now, someone with no emotional intelligence might say, okay, but remember your case study is due tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Now, there's a balance. You have to have a balance. You can have sympathy and have interpersonal skills with someone, but you also have to remember you have a job to do.
Right.
So if, you know, she was to come in and tell me that and I say, I'm sorry, I can't just say, don't forget about it, don't do it. What I probably should say is, you know, I'll give you a couple more days.
Right.
You know, that would be having a good balance so that you're not too far on the emotional intelligence side by just telling her, don't worry about doing it, but you're not on the other side by just totally disregarding the fact that something just happened. So the leaders, the most successful leaders are great at having this emotional intelligence, and because it promotes good interpersonal relationships with your staff. If your staff can see that you can relate to them and have sympathy for them during certain situations, and you have good social skills, that's going to build a good rapport with your staff. That's going to engage them and motivate them to want to come in to work, knowing that they have somebody that they can relate to, even if it is their leader. So fellowship. Fellowship deals with your staff and them wanting to follow their leader. Every leader won't need a follower. Some people are just going to do what they're going to do regardless of if people are on ship or not. Those are not necessarily always the best leaders, right?
Right.
And because of that, not everyone can or should be a leader. It requires a kind of a special characteristic, special skills to be a good leader. And because of that, the good ones or the true leaders inspire commitment. Those are the ones, again, like I just said, have the employees that want to come to work every day and don't look at it necessarily as a bad thing. Those are the ones that get respect. Those are the ones that aren't too conceited or self-absorbed to the point where they are totally overlooking everybody that follows them. So being in leadership and in management, there's obviously going to be barriers and challenges every day. Unfortunately or fortunately, the industry that we're in healthcare, it's an industry that's always changing like every day. These are some of the barriers and challenges that you will face as a healthcare manager. Obviously, laws and regulations are always changing. Even now with Obamacare coming into play, there's still going to be lots of things changing. Physicians are always a challenge that you'll have to be able to face and work with. New technology. Think about all of the healthcare organizations that are transitioning to electronic health records and all the work that goes behind that, and having to tell people who've been writing things for 20, 30 years that you now have to put it into a computer. Mm-hmm. And culture of safety. We see on the news every day. There's a lot of, you're not really safe anywhere anymore. Schools, movie theaters, like things are happening everywhere. So creating a culture of safety, especially in an environment where you're dealing with vulnerable people who are sick, some can't walk, can't move. So safety is always going to be an important issue or challenge in healthcare. Because of those challenges, we can't forget that we have a responsibility, an ethical responsibility Does everybody know what ethics means? Hopefully. We have to make sure that we are adhering to our code of ethics. Each organization will have a code of ethics, something in writing. Is kind of a statement that kind of tells where they stand on things and what they believe in and what their values are. Doing right versus doing wrong. Seems simple, right? But when you're put in a situation, it may not always be that simple. So we have to keep in mind what our organization's ethics are, what our values are as an organization. Not necessarily what our personal values and ethics may be, because that may conflict with what the organization thinks. Let me give you an example of that. There are certain healthcare organizations or hospitals that are religious-based or Catholic-based, and there are certain procedures that they do or they do not do. Now, your own personal beliefs may think it's okay for that to happen, but you work for an organization that believes that X, Y, and Z should not happen. So you have to make sure that you are always in line with what the organization's ethics and their values are versus what your personal ones are. And we have a video, but we're not going to watch it because we're going to move into the next chapter. This is chapter 3. Dealing with management and motivation. Let's talk about motivation. Somebody give me a definition besides the one that's on the board. Your personal definition.
To inspire people.
Inspire, all right.
Influence.
Having enough energy.
Influence.
Energy.
Energy. You were saying something.
I just said just to get somebody to do something.
Get somebody to do something.
Mm-hmm.
All good definitions. Any others? No? Motivation versus engage. Is there a difference? Same thing?
Different.
Difference.
Motivating, you got to get there, engaged, you're doing it.
Engage, you want to do it. Motivate, you can't have something.
Right. Exactly. Engaged. Let's take work as an example. An engaged employee wants to come to work. Like you said, they get up every day. Yes, time to go to work. Can't wait to get there. Can't wait to do my work. I love my job. Motivated is, oh, I don't want to go to work, but I'm going because I need to get that money for that paycheck, right? There's your difference, right? Everybody see the difference? Yeah. Okay. Now, while there is a difference, they do go hand in hand, because even an engaged person has to have something internally motivating them to want to be at work, right? Whereas a motivated person may not have an ounce of engagement in them. They may just be motivated by money or whatever else. So what we want probably is the engaged person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And here are some characteristics of an engaged employee. They're more productive, they're safer, they're loyal, they're focused on the patient and the care, and they witness greater profitability than someone who is disengaged. And that is because they are more productive. They're more productive and they're working harder, they're working more efficiently, then they're going to make the company more money than somebody who's just sitting there on the clock. So why does any of this matter? This matters because if someone is motivated and engaged, they're going to be a better employee, right, for your organization. And it gets contagious, right? You see one person happy and motivated, it kind of spreads. Just like you see somebody disengaged, and that can spread too, right?
Exactly.
So this is why it matters. We want people to be happy. We want people to be, engaged to come to work and do what they're supposed to do. And we want it to spread. So there's in your chapter, there's a lot of different theories of motivation. I'm not going to go through all of them. I just picked one to kind of focus in on to give you an idea of that theory, and you can look at the rest of them in your book on your own. But a lot of psychologists study motivation, and they study it from these different perspectives. Needs at different levels, extrinsic factors, intrinsic factors, and the integration of needs and these extrinsic and intrinsic factors. So the one I chose to focus on is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Anybody heard of this before? You'll hear about it, I'm sure, in other classes along with this one. It deals with different needs being at different levels, and before you can move up to a different level, you have to accomplish the needs at the first level. So the basic level is at the top, which is the physiological needs. You gotta eat, food, water. Then the next level is safety needs. You need to be safe, you need to have a roof over your head, you need to have job security. And the next one is belonging. Everybody wants to feel like they belong, right? Nobody wants to feel alone, outcast. And then the next level is esteem. Everybody aims for status, recognition. No one wants to pull up in something that, you know, may belittle their status, right? Car-wise. And then the last one is self-actualization. That's more internal. Feelings of achievement, growth, development, those types of things. So we're going to take some time to look at the figure which explains what I was talking about. So at the bottom you have, this is your foundation, physiological needs. And then the next level is safety, and then social, and then esteem, and then self-actualization. So once you get to the top, you've accomplished all the rest of these. But you can't get to social needs until you've accomplished safety. So it has to go in order, according to Maslow. This is what Maslow says. This is his theory. Does anybody have questions about that? Makes pretty good sense, right? If you put it into terms, into your own life, into yourself, I applied it to my own life, and I thought it made sense.
So a person with low self-esteem can't reach self-actualization.
Right, exactly. You can't, if you don't have any confidence in yourself, how are you going to grow,
Right.
develop, feel achieved about doing anything, right? So we'll talk next about extrinsic rewards. These tend to be tangible, things you can see, you can feel. Number one, money, right? Everybody can see, you can count it, you can feel it. Benefits, job responsibilities, promotions, praise. These are all extrinsic rewards that one might get on the job from their boss or their supervisor. Then you have intrinsic rewards. They're more intangible, things you can't really see, but they're still there. So feeling a sense of connection, not something you can see, you can feel it though, right? Meaningful versus meaningless work, competence, progress, and choice and decision making. These all happen on the job too, but you can't really feel them. They're more intangible. So here we go again. Remember, this is all from your book too, so don't seem overwhelmed. I need volunteers to come up and tell me which of these are extrinsic and which are intrinsic. Thank you very much. Okay? Thank you.
See why we're up here?
Sure, why not? All right, thank you. All right, somebody's listening to class. There we go. All right, thank you.
I think.
Dang, she just took it. She took yours back, huh?
All right. Anybody else? Who hasn't gone? Somebody hasn't gone. I'm not gonna say any names.
Just came there. Hold on.
You guys are stuck. Sorry. Thank you. Here we go. All right. 2 more. Thank you. You guys always leave one for me. Oh, there we go. All right. Do we think that our list is correct? Yes. We have all yeses?
Yes.
2 yeses?
I say yes.
3 yeses? Few people quiet.
I think it's all correct.
We're
I
good.
think it's correct.
Correct?
I think.
Yes.
It's white?
Yeah.
All right, you guys did pretty good then, if everybody's on the same page. Do you think that any of these could be,
Both.
which ones?
Benefits.
Benefits?
Mhm.
Why benefits?
Well, because if you benefit on the outside, you
Yeah.
benefit on the inside.
Oh, okay, all right. I'll take that.
Inspirational people too.
Inspirational people,
Choice and decision making.
choice and decision making. I can agree with all of those.
Competence. If you know it, then you know it, then you can express it.
Okay. All right, I'll take that one.
Meaningful work.
Definitely meaningful work. I think that could definitely be both. But you guys were able to see the clear difference between the two, right? And how important they both are. Everybody good with this list? Can I erase? All right. So there's some myths about motivation and satisfaction, right? Here are some of them. Have any of you guys heard of any of these listed up here? It's a myth. People are motivated by money. Is that a myth or not? Is it true?
Sometimes.
It's true. But is everybody motivated by money?
No.
That's where the myth comes. People assume that everybody's motivated by money. Some people are not, right?
Some people want to help self-satisfaction because
Right.
they're not wanting the money.
Right. Or whatever, benefits. It could be anything. What about all motivation being intrinsic? We know that's not true because money motivates people, right? What about this one? Motivation is manipulation. True?
Can be.
It can be.
It can
In a sense, yeah.
It can be, definitely.
Peer pressure's a form of motivation, isn't it?
Yeah.
A negative
Yeah.
form.
What about one size fits all reward programs?
No.
Doesn't work, right? But sometimes people think that it will work. And that goes back to everybody. You can't do this because everybody isn't motivated the same way. So if you just pick one reward program to motivate everybody, it's probably not going to work because everybody has, different ways that they're motivated.
That's the same with the money.
Right. Motivational people are born, not made.
That is in me, because I used to be careless.
But now you're motivated.
I'm very motivated.
All right, great example. And there's only one kind of employee satisfaction. So you see, these are all common myths that most of them we've heard before, but we've talked it out to see that they're not true. And so when you're leading or when you're managing, you want to keep these in mind and remember that they are what they are. They're just myths, and that these don't fit into the mold of everybody. Everybody's different. So what are some strategies, keeping that in mind, what are some strategies that will motivate people? Here's a list. Obviously, expect the best. Don't go into the situation saying, oh, I know he's not going to accomplish this. You have to always expect the best. Rewards, they're important. Even if it's a small, reward, or even if it's just a pat on the back, or calling them to say, you did a good job today, I appreciate your help, something. But if they've done what you wanted them to do, or if they've accomplished the desired behavior, you need to reward them in some type of way. Creating a fun approach. Fun, focused, unpredictable, novel approach. Anybody give me an example of a fun approach?
Say, give an example of a fun approach.
A fun approach might be just doing something a little bit differently from how you do it every day. If someone's task is to do X, Y, Z every day, one day you might want to make it a competition, or let's see who can finish, not necessarily the fastest, or whoever. Let's see who can put out the best quality today, or let's see who can get the most compliments from patients today.
Like when I worked for Foot Locker, we used to have to sell whatever percentage we sold. We had to sell 9% of accessories. So whoever reached like the 9% accessories, they either got like the boss would buy lunch for them, or something like that.
That's a good example. Reward employees to enhance performance and motivate. Again, we talked about rewarding employees and what it does to them. Tailor rewards. We just talked about this. Everybody doesn't like the same type of reward. So tailor them to accommodate to whatever the employee it is that you're working with. Focus on revitalizing employees. This might deal with employees that have been there for a while. They have history there. They're kind of mundane. They've fallen into the routine. Figure out something or some way to revitalize them, to re-energize them, to be motivated again, and not just think of it as, I'm going into work again today to do the same thing I've been doing for the last 20 years. Find and create ways to obtain information and reward excellence. Again, even if it's a certificate or a lunch, find some way to reward somebody who's gone above and beyond. Otherwise, if people think that what they do goes unnoticed, they're not going to be motivated or engaged to want to continue that behavior. You have to get your staff to take responsibility for their own motivation to a certain degree. I mean, you are there to encourage them and motivate them, but towards the beginning of this lecture, we talked about self-motivation and how it also has to be internal and from within. Play to employee strengths and promote high performance and focus on how they learn. We all know that everybody learns differently. Everybody has different strengths and different weaknesses. So as a manager, you have to pinpoint those out and figure out what everyone's strengths are to make sure that you highlight that and you focus on that. So if you know that Ms. Hunter is not the best at data entry, but she's great on the phone, we might want to, revise her job duties to focus more on her communication skills and her being on the phone, and transfer her data entry responsibilities to someone else who's better on the computer. Little things like that will also engage employees. If she is great on the phone and she loves coming in and talking on the phone, and you've told her, okay, now more of your responsibilities are going to be on the phone, think about how much more motivated she's going to be to come into work every day, knowing that she gets to do something that she likes doing. So we talked about motivation and how we have to work with different types of people. This is a prime example. We're now working with the most different generations than anyone else during, right now in our lifetime. So we have the traditionalists, the baby boomers, Generation X, and the millennials. As a manager, you have to be capable of knowing how to motivate all of these people. Think about that. Think about having to motivate someone that is 80 and having to motivate someone that is 21. Think about how that might be a challenge. And you will have to do this because people are living longer, they're working longer, so this is real life. This is bound to happen.
It's just like in class, I was walking behind a couple of girls, and they were saying, well, we got a lot of old people in class. We have to go over like 2 or 3 times before they get it, you know. You have to be diverse, and the teacher has to know how to accommodate everybody because of the age difference.
Right.
And that's kind of like what you were saying.
Yeah, exactly. It's a great example. So it's a challenge for me too, to be able to creatively relay the information to you all because, you know, the ages and the diversity is very diverse here, also in my online classes as well. So I have to try to cultivate a learning environment that's going to be engaging to everybody, regardless of who you are. Right.
Some people that really don't do the computers.
Right. Yeah. So we will stop there today, and we'll pick up the rest on Thursday. Anybody have any questions? If not, then I'll see you on Thursday.